Hey guys, today I'm talking to Rendi. I think this might be my favorite video that I've ever posted. I really hope that you like it too. Enjoy. Rendi, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. And first of all, congratulations are in order because you have a new Ironman series and it's absolutely smashing it.
Thanks. Yeah, it's great to be here. The new Ironman series, it's new for me. It's like playing the game normally, so it's something. That's for sure.
Yeah, the count rules are pretty unique. Like, could you kind of run through them both for me and everyone listening?
It's just kind of like God. It's even hard for me to explain this. It's just like no exchange of like direct XP or GP for a tradable item. So that's like monster drops because I'm gaining XP in combat. I can't pick up any monster drops if they're tradable. I can't buy anything out of shops that are tradable because that's GP for item out of shop. Um, there's many other examples, but that's like the gist of it. And anything I get for XP, like if I chop a tree or thief something from a stall, I have to drop it immediately. So it's like the only exceptions that the account can basically pull are any sort of untradeable item from anything GP or XP, and then tradable items from like spawns on the ground, um, untradeable things like clue scrolls, random events, stuff like that. So it's really just a really convoluted item restriction series. It's not like a landlocked restriction like most of them are. So I tried to do something a little bit different there, but that was the plan with that. So
Yeah, they're definitely a lot more niche than, like you said, like doing a Mauritania locked series. So how did you come up with your rule set and why did you decide that these rules would be the most fun way for you to play this account?
I did like an item restriction series way back when with potato only hardcore Iron Man, like in 2019, early 2019. So I kind of like took some inspiration from that, and even with that, it's just like I don't want to do the same thing everyone else is technically doing. So that was like a big influence for that. And how I kind of came up with the rules specifically, I don't even know. I was just trying to think of, like what's a what's something really different I can do that's based around item restrictions. And it was kind of like, well, the original idea actually was to actually call it garbage man mode, make the account not an Iron Man, make it like a normal account and just only be able to pick up people's trash off the street, like at the GE, like have
Yeah.
to wait around for people to drop something. But then I thought, well, this could get really like controversial because some guy, if he saw the episode one and I'm like hunting for a specific item, people could just start dropping that item all over the ground everywhere, and I could just run over and pick it up, and it could be kind of cheating almost. So I was thinking, well, let's make it an actual Iron Man, um and do something similar with the idea but a little bit different, where it's like based around item spawns more so than people's junk on the floor. And that's pretty much how I guess the idea came to be. So
Yeah, I've been watching your content since Potato Only Hardcore Iron Man and following pretty much every video since then. I watched this one and the first 15 minutes, I'll be honest with you, I was a little skeptical. The rules were very confusing and I was having a hard time following. But then you
yeah.
really won me over as I was going through the video, man. Like I was hooked by the end of the first episode.
Yeah, there it's like I definitely had that like thing to overcome, which is like getting everyone in line as to what's even happening. But like once you're there, it's like, okay, now I have to think of some 20-step process to get this stupid item and to complete this quest, to do this, to do that, to do that. And that's where I guess like maybe it hooks some people in because they have to keep watching to figure out what happens at the end, because I'm just spouting all these random ideas out, and then finally something seems to work towards the end of the video. Typically, is what I'm trying to format it as. And yeah, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of these like one chunk like episodes, and a lot of them were like super casual watches. I want to say there's a creator by the name of like Frosty with like 9K subs that I've been watching. Um, and his is very low editing. It's just like him doing something you'd never want to do yourself, but you want to watch something do someone else do. And so that's why I was like, yeah, I should probably do something like that, even though I might not necessarily like it from a content standpoint. It's pretty good. So yeah, I
I
guess
mean,
that's
I
the
play
thought
an
process.
Ultimate Iron Man account, and that tends, by the way, and that tends to be like widely regarded as the most tedious of official accounts, I suppose, that you could play. But in
Right.
watching your first couple of episodes, the example that I would give is like you trying to figure out a way into the desert. That was some next level tedious shit, dude. Like you must really enjoy the theory crafting aspect of this. Otherwise, I can't imagine that this would be a journey you'd want to undertake, right?
Yeah, it's definitely the theory crafting part that I've always enjoyed more about the game than anything else, like, even than actually doing it. Like, just, thinking of a way, yeah, to theoretically do it is by far the most entertaining thing to me about the game because there's so many routes you can take to do so many weird things, so, um, that's definitely a big part of it.
Out of curiosity, do you have like a goal for the end game of this account?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I really didn't have a goal at first, but, the more I'm, like, looking at it, I'm thinking just, like, best in slot melee gear, which is going to be like an inferno, maybe like a bludgeon, um, strength tram, full void, maybe manacles. I don't know, something like that. Nothing too crazy. Like I'm not gonna try and max the account or anything like that. This was really supposed to be just something really temporary, and already I can feel myself like getting way too far into it and and like looking ahead that much I'm like, oh god, how long is this really going to take me to get an inferno cape? I'm thinking, I'm going to have to maybe like leech raids for like a bulwark for like an AoE weapon and hit nibblers in the center of the wave and just all this crazy stuff. So um I don't know, it's a little overwhelming at times thinking about just where it's headed, but I wanna say best in slot melees, maybe range and mage, I don't know yet.
You brought up the Inferno, so I have to ask, like, have you done any theory crafting as to what your gear would possibly look like? I know that's so far off at this point, but
Yeah, I would say, like I said, bulwark, for the nibbler spawns, and because that's literally I've looked it over, I'm pretty sure that's the only AoE weapon I can even get
hmm.
technically on the build, and then, ruined crossbow maybe from, like, elite clues, with void range. I've done a ruined crossbow like void cape a long, 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 long time ago. But it'll be way different with kind of the other gear and obviously having to start each wave in the middle of the inferno with the bulwark. So um that's just kind of what I have in mind. And I can't even, get herblore up. So um I've found the only way I'm going to be able to get super restores, I believe, is with uh Theater of Blood, like leeching my way through like the first two rooms to get to the supply chest, maybe get some brews and restores from that. And I literally think that's like the only way I can possibly get, other than like the one restore from um Underground Pass. That's the only way I can get restores on the account right now.
Does
So
Dr. Jekyll have a super restore on his table?
yeah, I think he might. But I don't know if I can even get the herb for that. I probably can.
Oh,
I would have to pay to get it cleaned though. So technically, I'm like exchanging money to clean the herb from the guy in Narda. So then I would have to drop the herb. So yeah, I don't know. I guess not. Not really. I don't think that would work.
it's a rabbit hole, man.
Yeah, it is. I haven't even thought about half these scenarios yet. So I'm just kind of just like going into it, and I'm not even trying to. I'm planning a little bit like the Inferno thing, but you'll probably realize by the time I get that far into the series that the plan will probably be something totally different by that time. So that's where we're at.
That's fair. The other thing outside of the content with this series was that you mentioned in an update video that you were going to kind of drop the Rendi persona with this series and just try to be
Mhm.
more yourself. I definitely felt this watching your video. I'm kind of curious what inspired that change after, playing the Rendi character for so long.
Um, I really just don't enjoy playing the character, to be honest. And I realized, if I'm going to be doing this for a long while, if not for the rest of my life, I better, kind of do something that I like more than I don't. So that's going to be being myself, for one. Um, for two, like, I don't know. It's like I enjoy like writing the ideas and like everything for the Rendi character, but I don't enjoy being that character. So I'm a very like piss poor actor, I would say, to be honest. So I really don't want to be the one doing the acting in the future. Even if I do get into some other industry, I want to be the one who's writing the ideas out and having someone else do that rather than me being like the in the spotlight trying to act something out that's not me because I'm not good at that. But other than, yeah, just not being good at it and just not wanting to do it per se, those are probably like the two biggest reasons I've kind of tried to drop it recently. So
So you're saying we're not going to get any more Shane Dawson call outs?
um dude, I don't know. I rewatched that video actually last night, and I was like, this is still my favorite video. I really like that video, but it's like I don't like myself being the guy in the cage. If I could have like paid someone to sit in that cage and do exactly the same thing that I did, possibly better, but with like the same kind of basis, I would have done it. But I don't like being the one in the fucking cage. Let's just say that. So I do like the ideas because they're like pretty insane, but I like seeing how it all plays out and comes together at the end, even if it is something as ridiculous as that. So
We have to talk about that cage video for a second. My
mhm.
my girlfriend last night, I was talking to her. She knew I was interviewing someone from the RuneScape community. She knows nothing about RuneScape or the RuneScape content creators. So she's like, "Who are you interviewing?" And I was like, "Oh, you're not going to know who it is." But then I was like, do you remember the guy who locked himself in a cage?" And she was like, "Oh my God, I loved that video. Like, that video had such mass appeal, man. It was so out of the box wacky, but it was really kind of genius in its uniqueness."
Yeah, like everyone I show those videos to outside of the RuneScape community, they're like, "Oh yeah, this is like great. Like this is some really like Tim and Eric level stuff, like some really Adult Swim style stuff." And anyone who's into that I've shown it to is like loves it, but it's just a very specific audience that appeals to, and it definitely took way too many people by surprise to just throw that on my YouTube channel. So that was a big mistake, to be honest. I mean, I want to make the video, but to put it on my RuneScape channel, I don't know if that was such a great idea. So um yeah.
I'm happy you did, if that counts for anything. I thoroughly
Thank you.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.
I mean, you had a pretty big run with IRL videos up until recently. Did you
Mhm.
try to move towards that direction because that's something that you really wanted to do, or was RuneScape burnout playing a factor in that decision?
It was kind of both. I've always wanted to do the IRL content. I've never had the time or the chance to really do that. Whenever I posted those really long videos that got me banned, I actually made a lot of money from those and the ones that followed. So, because they got like over 300,000 views and they were like over an hour long. So I kind of had a tiny bit of extra money to like kind of quit uh, pursuing RuneScape YouTube as much as I was for like a month or two, and that's when I decided to try that out um, on that second channel. And yeah, the more I was doing it, at first it was really fun because it was something new and it was something I'd always wanted to do. But like I've said, like the more I was doing it, the more I just felt out of place and like I like didn't want to do it. Like there was a time when I had already paid for like an Airbnb to film this thing at, as well as all these other props and whatnot. And my camera guy decided, well, he didn't decide. He got sick at the last moment, and he had to cancel on me. And I was actually really happy that he had canceled because like the whole time, for some reason, even before he said that, I was like, I really don't want to go make this video. Like, I just don't want to go put myself out in public, and then at this person's Airbnb, who might we have to explain them what we're using this property for and all this stuff. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to even do this. And then as soon as you let me know, I was like relieved, and that's when I kind of realized I was like, do I really like doing this? I don't know. I like the making the ideas for these videos, but I don't know if I actually like filming myself doing them. So that's kind of when I put the brakes on and kind of just took a step back. And I was like, I went back on RuneScape in like December, and I was playing like, I haven't shown any of this footage. I was playing a defense peer for a while, and I was finding it really fun, just like doing clue scrolls and playing the game normally. So I was like, yeah, this is kind of maybe something I want to start doing again on channel, not just in private. So that's when I kind of realized maybe I should step back a little bit from the IRL stuff, at least for now, and try and focus on that because that's just what made me the happiest at the time. So yeah.
I do want to ask you about Coyote. That was your cameraman's name, right? Coyote.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, first of all, is that his real name, or was that like a
No, that's completely staged. That's not his real name.
okay? And
His real
you
name's Ian.
okay? Yeah, you met him during your group Ironman video when you were looking for partners, and the way at least you sort of built the narrative in that episode was you were standing on the street corner, and he walked by. Like that wasn't actually how
No,
you met him,
no, that
right?
wasn't real. No,
Okay.
but I
Hey,
did meet him over RuneScape. He moved from recently from New Hampshire to Arkansas, and he was like an hour and a half from me, and he had been wanting to like come hang out with me. So I was like, okay. And so we just decided to like film a video while he was down here, and that's when we just made him that character. And so I've actually known him for like 5 years over RuneScape, and I just met him around that same time. He's actually, I don't know, you probably never heard of him, but he is like an arson Moki. He did like low level fire keeps back in like 2015 or 2016. So that's kind of how I we found each other because we were both doing it back then. So yeah, it was a little random, but we decided to make that video while he was here.
that's awesome. You also had a run for a while doing streaming, and I mean like going hard on the streaming. One of the craziest and most in-depth streaming setups I have ever seen out of anyone, period. Can you kind of walk me through what happened with all of that?
Um, yeah, just another thing. I have all these crazy ideas, and then I find out that they're hella strenuous and stressful, and then I just drop off from all of them. But yeah, it's just like I had so I still have like some of these camera angles up, but I have like all these webcams like hooked up around the room. I had that massive green screen, um, nailed into all of these walls. I think I had like 3 or 4 of them in total. These massive ones just nailed to the floor, to the walls. Even had some like green kind of construction paper pinned to the ceiling and stuff like that. Um, and yeah, that's why I have all these extra monitors, and I even have one back there on that elliptical and whatnot. So, but the idea was I didn't I never really watched Twitch before this, or I would try to and I'd get really bored. So I was like thinking, like what's the most interactive thing I could do um and keep people's attention, because if I switch over to Twitch, I don't want to do it just like with me just playing a game on the screen and that's it. I'm just talking every few minutes and saying, "Hey, thanks for the subscription," or not contributing as much. And so I spent 3 months setting up, like learning how to add all these special OBS add-ons and like remotely control OBS with all these filter effects. And I had like I even bought spare phones that I could put on my wrist with like this application, and I had like 3,000 buttons for effects I could just control remotely on my hands, and I was just like flipping the camera angles and the effects. And the whole idea was people would redeem channel points as well, and they would automate effects that I had built in to the stream. So I would have to stop whatever I'm doing and like go do this effect. Like one of them was like I think a random red like Mario shell would come out of the wall, and I'd have to jump out of my seat and hop over it, no matter what I was doing. So it was just kind of like I tried to like put a really interactive way with gaming, because I had seen people like Sushi Dragon have interactive Twitch streams before, where he does like dances and things for people, and he's got like a huge green screen setup, thousands of effects, but no one had really kind of combined that with gaming. That was kind of just in like the just chatting section. It wasn't like gaming and interaction. So that was the whole idea, and it went off pretty well. And just like this other thing, I found myself being way too stressed out. Like, I was every time I wasn't streaming, I was trying to fix an error on the stream out of like the 3,000 effects I had built in. I was trying to still, for some reason, add more effects, because I thought for some reason it wasn't enough. And I was trying to get those to work, and then I get more errors, and it was just like really, really stressful. And eventually, I just burnt out extremely quick from that after like 2 months of doing it. And just dropped off, and that's what happened with that pretty much. So yeah.
I watched multiple of those streams, and I have to tell you, man, at the end of the streams, I felt like I had burned 500 calories just from watching you. Like, it
Yeah.
was it was unbelievable. I don't know how you got anything done. If I recall correctly, the streams that you were doing, you were walking around like Port Sarim, either with an event RPG trying to get quests done or just training on seagulls. But it was literally to the point of every 10 seconds some effect was popping off, and you were either having to go like lock yourself in a cage or do a dance or something like that. I mean,
Mhm.
it was just constant.
Yeah, I tried to put a cooldown on some of those effects, which eventually, like, kind of gave me more of a break. But even with that, it was like they would just change them out. So even though one effect would have a cooldown of like 10 minutes, they'd choose the next one in the channel point redemption and just stack them on top of each other. So yeah, it was definitely a lot of exercise at least.
Is there any chance that we see you making a streaming comeback, maybe just with less effects and a
Oh
more
yeah.
reasonable setup?
Yeah, I'm thinking, maybe once I move in 3 or 4 months, I might just do a very kind of relaxed, chill streaming setup. Just the traditional, uh, webcam in the top right, playing some RuneScape maybe. I realize, it's not all about effects, and it's not, you don't have to like kill yourself to make something entertaining these days. And I think that's always been kind of an issue, is like me just overreaching, trying way too hard at some things that don't necessarily need to be, um, have that, don't necessarily need that much effort put into them. So, in the future, definitely, I could see that in a few months.
Are you finding that people are reacting positively to just you being relaxed and yourself, and that is enough to maintain interest instead of having to have all of those extra sort of bells and whistles on top of everything else?
It depends. I would say sometimes yes, sometimes no. I still like it's weird. I have like a bad feeling if I put out a video and I don't think there's enough variety in it, even at this level. Um, and I do enjoy being myself more, but like when I look at the final product, I'm not as satisfied. Obviously, even though I can put more videos out, kind of with this new method, um, and all of that, it's just I still kind of have like self doubts a lot about what I'm putting out. More so because I'm not putting as much effort in as I used to. And I always want to keep growing in some aspect, but I guess I'm growing in one way other than another. Basically, by just finding that it's okay to sometimes choose quantity over quality, or still maintain a certain level of quality. Like, think that's the area where you got to kind of still balance it out. You can't just totally, I feel like, destroy the quality of the video, even without, like, I don't think it's the acting per se that destroys the quality, but I have been putting a lot less effort in editing lately. And I've kind of questioned that. And then like the actual content, so it's more casual content. It's like me actually playing the game. The reason I did glitches like in the first place was just because no one had really seen um, those being performed, those being done on like a massive scale on YouTube. So I wanted something unique. And whereas this, it's still unique, but it's like anyone could do it. And I think that's kind of why I've always questioned, is it enough? Um, and on some of the more recent videos, like the next video you'll see, I'm killing a lot of the same thing. And I realized that I'm like, oh shit, like how am I gonna make a video out of this? Because it's just me doing the same thing for like 60 hours straight. And um and I like that's when I start thinking again, like, is this gonna be enough to get views? So far it seems like it is. But like I said, I haven't gone so far down in quality to where I really don't know if that's going to be an issue with this type of series. So that the long grinds are going to be, I feel like, the biggest issue. Um, Other than me being myself, I think is fine, but the new concepts in general, yeah, are just going to be kind of the more difficult part, I would say, of retaining viewership. So,
I want to transition for a minute,
mhm.
and I don't want to go too in depth because you've covered this multiple times already. But can we talk about your RuneScape ban for just a minute?
Yeah, sure.
I followed the whole thing pretty closely, but for the people who are listening, who might not have, could you give like a 60-second Cliff Note version summary of what happened?
60 seconds,
Or
huh?
shorter. You could sum it up even
Shorter?
shorter.
I
Yeah.
was thinking it might be longer. It's like,
Take
so
your time.
every time I think about this, there's, like, so many things that
Yeah.
uh, geez, okay, so so I made that, Defense Pure video, the first one, on, like, July 1st of last year, something like that, and I'd been working on the first 2 episodes. I had them pre-recorded for since, like, January, um and I stopped actually playing the account in April. So January to April, I was working on the account for the first 2 episodes. The ones that actually got a lot of views, and then from May 1st to like maybe it was June 1st when it came out, not July 1st, something like that. For 2 or 3 months, I was learning Blender from the ground up and like trying to put together that intro I had on the video. And so I had played in 3 months about on the actual account. So I posted that video, the first one, June 1st or July 1st, I can't even remember. But I posted the video, and then the next day, the account and the video got banned. Not even 12 hours later. And like I said, this account had been played in 3 months. And then the other account I was using, that was my friend's, that was setting up bird snares for the account to like move around. That got banned as well. Um, and it wasn't even my account. Like I was just using it. And so he actually tried to appeal that, like, as my account was stolen, or like I didn't have access to it because it technically, he didn't. And that with bug abuse bans, these are both bug abuse manual permanent bans. So there's no real appeal you can do on them. They'll just say, well, because these are manual bans, like we know it was your account, you had access to it, blah 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 blah. Even though that wasn't really correct. So he never got his account back. I had just lost that defense pure hardcore Iron Man. Um, and then so me and my friend Mahler posted these videos at the same time. His uploaded the same day as mine. They took a ban on my account less than 12 hours later, but his for some reason was 7 days later. Um, and he got banned. I only suffered one real ban, but he got banned on like 50 accounts overnight. So he got banned on his old account Mauler that had like 200 mil strength XP, one attack, that never even did bug abuse. And even accounts that were still like literally on Tutorial Island that were like alt accounts that would help shoot rats for reduced XP, even those got banned. It was any account registered to his email or his last IP address that got banned, and that was like 50 in total. So that really like pissed me off. So I made like a YouTube community post about it, and I was like, well, we've told them all this information back in April about everything that's been shown in these videos and like how they could fix it and how it could be even used for very bad things, because we had one guy in our Discord go rogue with it and we had to like basically ban him from the Discord. And that's when I decided to report it to this JMod. And so I had told like the head cheat guy at Mod Tyrant about it. No response for months, so I was just like, whatever. It's typical because we had some bad blood in the past with the other thing in 2019, anyways. So fast forward, yeah, community post went to Reddit. Someone screenshot it, put on Reddit, got like 30,000 upvotes on Reddit, and people are like, this is absurd, blah blah blah. So Jagex has to make a response to 30,000 Reddit upvotes, and they did. They made it on Reddit and then they posted it on their website. Like it's the news post is called like a message regarding bug abuse. And then they claimed that we like crashed worlds, dupe GP, a bunch of other stuff. It was like a list of stuff. The only thing they got right was that we duplicated quest rewards. So they somehow knew we did that. So they knew something about our accounts actually. They probably saw my hardcore Ironman had like 85 wood cutting or something. So there was that, and I was like, I saw that on my phone, and instantly I got up and responded to that Reddit post because I was like pissed off. Like I felt like my heart rate going up, and my blood pressure was going up, and I felt like I was like shaking. I was so mad because I like read it and I was like, they were saying we're like duping and crashing worlds, and I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, you could just come out on the news post and say, you know, um, these guys, nulled XP in a quest, or they repeated a quest, and that's why we banned them, which would make sense. I would have been like, okay, yeah, like fair enough. Like you could say that's bug abuse. But what pissed me off is like they were saying that we were like duping and real world trading GP and all this stuff. And I'm like, the ban is on a hardcore Iron Man for bug abuse. So I was like confused and pissed off, and it just kept going from there. Eventually I talked to an XJ mod recently. They had told me that they asked Mod Tyron um that, is there anyone that saw that they actually duped or crashed worlds? And he's like, no, there's no evidence for that. But like the head of this department said, we just need to release this statement. And this person just had to put the statement out on us. And I think it was just some way to make us look more malicious than we were, in order to kind of like ease the people off the fire who were like, like, oh fuck Jagex. But it was just really poorly managed. And like I said, they could have just um, said we did some glitch or something, and they banned us for that. But it's just like they take it to the next level. Say all the other shit, and that's just kind of what like made me want to quit the game for so long and not really touch it. And as well, I was more upset about my friend getting banned on all those random accounts, especially after we fed them like free information and stuff like that. I would understand if it was like the account that did the bug as well, even though it was just a minor bug, and if they addressed the situation properly. But yeah, the whole duping, crashing worlds, real world trading thing like really just made me angry, and I just kind of went on like a tangent about it. To be honest, took it really personal. I realize now I probably shouldn't have, but yeah,
How could you
took it really
not?
personal. Yeah, and I took a break off the game for like 5 6 months, something like that. So that's the whole story. That's what I was saying. Like, there's even more to it than that. I could talk about it for like an hour with the whole band situation. So that's pretty much the short rundown.
I'm curious, was that communication that you've had with the ex JMod the only JMod communication that you've had since the ban, or have you been in contact with active JMods?
I've tried to contact active JMods. No one responds to me. I had another friend who knows a JMod who's current um, there, and he said that they're not even like allowed to talk about us or something. So I don't know. I even had like people who are good with the J mods, like I think Rakesy, DM Aiza, and he's like, "Yeah, we'll see if we can set something up to talk with them." Because that's I feel like that's how it should have been handled in the first place, just do like a private call before all this other crap went out of hand. And unfortunately, it didn't. But yeah, Aiza, like that was 6 months ago, and he still never got back with us. And I've DM'd multiple. I've DM'd Sween. Um, a few others, I think. Tyron again, multiple times, with no response. And I know he responds to DMs because I've seen people on Twitter DM Tyron and get a response almost the same day. So yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't think they're allowed to really talk with us. And yeah, I think that's the main problem, and that's why the only person I was able to get was someone who is literally already gone from the company, but also they're under NDA. So that's why as well I don't want to disclose like too much about them or all this information. So I'm only trying to put out there what they've given me permission to say um, until 5 years comes along, and then maybe I could just say something else then. But yeah, so that's the whole thing with that.
Crumb, KempQ, and a friend are all examples of content creators that did something to get banned by Jagex, but then they were ultimately welcomed back by Jagex at a later time. Do you think there's any possibility there might be a similar path back for you?
I don't think I would want there to be honest. Like as bad as that sounds, I'm probably gonna hold a grudge forever on that. And yeah, I don't know. The whole thing just rubbed me the wrong way. And I have been offered like back in their Discord server on the time before when I like left it manually in 2019 because I just didn't agree with how they handled things then, and I just didn't respond to that. I didn't accept it. Because that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And eventually, I might have like gotten over that. That wasn't a big deal, honestly, compared to this at all. So I don't think I'd ever want to like hop back in that Discord or like speak with him again. To be honest, on anything, unless maybe there was like some weird form of apology or something. But even then, I don't know. That's a little weird. I don't really need that to begin with. So um, I don't know. I don't think I'd get back with him, to be honest.
With the Jagex turnover rate so high, I mean, in 3 years you could have a completely new Jagex staff and Mod Matt K return at that point. I mean,
True, true.
if that would happen, would you consider maybe having some communication with them?
Yeah, yeah. I think the issue also lies though in the kind of like the management right now. From what I've heard, that's why a lot of the J mods are leaving right now as well. So unless that got changed, I think that's like the core issue at hand. But yeah, I could definitely see something like that in the far away future getting resolved and fixed, and possibly yeah, I could see that. Matt K, I like Matt K a lot, so if he's on board, maybe, I don't know. He's been DMing me through this whole thing, and he's like offered me some advice on sending in a what is it even called, the Freedom of Information Act, for getting some of the info from them with that. And he like told me like which department to email and stuff. So he's been really helpful just with that kind of stuff all the way through the whole ordeal. So um yeah, who knows? Maybe under those very strict circumstances, yeah.
I think Mod Matt K leaving was one of the worst things that's ever happened to Jagex. And if someone's listening that knows Matt, tag him on Twitter. Matt, we need you back, buddy. We need you bad. I have felt that since he left too. I mean, we used to have someone who was never afraid to get on the live stream, take accountability for mistakes that Jagex made, and address them directly in the community. And now, like with your situation, a lot of what we see is just keep trying to brush it under the rug for as long as possible, and eventually it'll go away. So I
Hmm.
really hope there's a future where either that style is migrated away from, or even better yet, Matt, please come back.
Yeah.
I want to pivot a little bit to mental health now. And I think that having a big social media presence and trying to navigate that online spotlight is something that content creators really struggle with. You're one of the biggest old school creators. Could you tell me a little bit about what it's like just to have to deal with people leaving rude comments or kind of just being asses to you on social media?
Um, Lately it doesn't really phase me as much. But I can see where it's like a really big deal with some people. It's more so, I guess, when it yeah, when it phases me is it's like when it's not constructive at all. It's just like, a 3-word comment like "go kill yourself" or something like that, you know. Um, that's probably when it kind of phases me a little bit, or when they, personally attack maybe like what you look like, or, something totally off the wall like that. Um, Lately I've just not tried to take any of that to heart, but it definitely in the past has affected me. Like, when I'm kind of new to this content creation thing in comparison to a lot of others in RuneScape. Like, I've only been doing it like 3 years about uh consistently. So whenever I got decently sized, and I had all this positive feedback at first, it felt really good. Um, but as soon as you start seeing those people, it just kind of catches you off guard and makes you question everything, And I feel like just the more you do it, though, it's kind of just you get used to it in the environment of how toxic it can be, even though it's not necessarily a good thing. It's definitely um, something that just you kind of overcome with time. I feel like, and not taking too many things to heart. Um, like, the biggest thing with me with um, that whole Jagex scenario was like people um, calling me like a duper. It's not even like something that's offensive, but it's like something that I know is not true, and it's been like put on my head by like this organization, Jagex, and like they put it in thousands of people's minds that I'm someone I'm not, and so now I have that large group of thousands of people coming at me anywhere I post. So like I was saying in one video, I congratulated Mika on like 100K subs, and some guy was like flaming me for being a duper or something like totally unrelated. Or it's like, oh, I used to, this doesn't happen as much anymore, but like during the whole controversy, it's like I would post a comment on a channel like a ditter bitter video or something like that, and then people in the comments would be like, "You're that guy who like duped and killed the economy, right?" I'm like, off, like it just gets kind of annoying to like keep seeing this, trend over and over again when I know it's like 100% false narrative, and just that's what really rubbed me the wrong way. It's like stuff like that that really gets into you, is like really personal. Um, and so I've that's been my latest struggle, is just trying to ignore comments like that. And luckily with time that kind of stuff phases out. One thing that really kind of upset me was, so like, Reddit, until recently it was terribly moderated. Um, People would just post like memes harassing creators, even J mods. And it's funny because when it started happening to JMods, that's when they finally started correcting the issue, and they started finally monitoring posts and kind of deleting them. But like in the Theoatrix whole ordeal, like that guy was getting ripped on intensely. Like you would refresh Reddit and there would be like something new on there every 30 seconds. This guy's checking it. He's like reading all this stuff, and he's already probably in a terrible mental condition. As we found out, he was literally in a like a mental hospital, being treated like right at the same time as all that happening. And people are still just going off at him. People to this day still are. And the guy was literally having psychosis. So it's like, to an extent, I can find it acceptable, even if it's like you yourself. Um, but like once it gets really personalized attacks on people, and it's just rampant upscale, like people are like posting on Reddit with like the hive mind mentality behind it. That's probably when I would say it becomes a big problem. Um, Not just for me, but for other creators for sure. So
For the record, Rendi, I like to think I'm a pretty good judge of character, and I feel like you're a good-hearted person. I'm not calling Jagex liars because honestly, I think they've demonstrated on multiple occasions that they're susceptible to making mistakes. That's as
Oh yeah.
kindly as I can put that. And then I think this was probably just one of those mistakes, and it was an absolute disaster of a PR campaign that just snowballed from there.
Yeah, I think a lot of the issue is in like the PR, honestly. Like it's just not handled properly. It doesn't make sense. So,
Can I rant
yeah.
for a second?
Go for it.
Even if I'm wrong and you fooled me and you're an evil server crashing mastermind,
Yeah.
you settled Theoatrix and every other content creator is a real person behind the screen. And harassing someone through toxic comments or hate and cancel campaigns is honestly disgusting and it needs to stop. People who are happy with their lives aren't toxic. People who are doing well and aren't spending their free time trying to get someone canceled
Hmm.
don't engage in that behavior. You know who does engage in that behavior? People who are sad about where they are in life and they value their time so little that they choose to dedicate their free time to negativity. I pity those people. And I think those people need to start thinking about the effect that their online behavior has not only on other people, but also on themselves when they post comments like that. And to everyone, including Jagex, there has to be some sort of path to redemption. You can't cancel a person forever based on one thing that they did. I don't care what it is. Everyone deserves a second chance, no matter what, in my opinion. And if they screw up that second chance, then at that point, you can have that discussion. But I
Hmm.
think everyone needs an opportunity to redeem themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think it's just kind of just a bad uh you know mindset to have is to just like relentlessly go after someone. I feel like it's like, yeah, you're like you said, people who have the time to even do that, you question where they're at, personally. And um and what gets me is, you said, no matter what they do, it's like in the RuneScape community, I feel like specifically, it's the most minor things that people say or do that get so warped or like thrown out of perspective. Like the whole thing that started the Theoatrix thing was him getting mad about Odablock dropping a gnome out of a window, and then like him responding to like with like 3 words to I think it was Ronan, which he probably shouldn't have said that, but it's like, really, are we gonna like send 5,000 people after this guy just for like a couple of words he said? They're just like, a few words at the end of the day. It's not like he committed a crime or like, you know, and like you said, even someone, I guess, who commits a crime, probably, depending on what it is, I would say, deserves a second chance, and they do, like, legally, through going to prison, paying the price, coming out, and like serving their time. And people just like sticking on the idea of them saying one thing one time is kind of just like, really, I feel like you're right. It's just like a bad thing to reinforce, to be honest. It just gets people nowhere. It just makes people mad about things that, that doesn't even really affect them as well. It's just kind of a waste of time to just take your anger out on someone and focus on why they're so bad or why you hate them. And um, yeah, I totally agree.
I wish people were better at recognizing when those online hate campaigns were happening and other people that were prominent in the community would be willing to stand up. I wish more people would have stood up for you when you were going through that, and I wish more people would have stood up for Theoatrix when he was experiencing his issue. By the way, he just posted a video, I think yesterday at the time of recording this. Welcome back, Theo. I hope you're doing well. Very happy to see you back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think that when you're in a tight knit community, to be clear, the content creator community, from my experience, in my very short run that I've had as a very small content creator, the people at the top are like the nicest people. It's the general Reddit users that can really just be hateful and vindictive.
Mhm.
The only thing I would like to see more out of the content creators is kind of a willingness to step forward when they see something inappropriate happening and say, hey, you guys really need to just knock this off.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of I think I made a post about the Theoatrix thing when that happened. But like I don't know, I haven't seen as much drama lately with content creators, believe it or not. But also I've been kind of just not paying attention. So that might be an issue on my part, but
That's not an
I'm
issue. That's a good
definitely
thing. Good on you for not paying
yeah.
attention.
Well, but like you were saying, I'm definitely down, to back up someone in a situation like that and, tell people to try and, understand it from their perspective or just, ease up a bit. So, um, yeah.
Moving forward, if Jagex comes back to you and they said, hey, Rendi, I don't think we handled the whole ban situation that great. If you can agree to give up bug abuse forever, we would happily welcome you back. Do you take that offer, or is it like you were saying earlier, where it's going to take a whole new team to even consider something like that?
Um, Whole new team probably. Yeah, it's just I feel like it's beyond that because it's been like a year almost, and um, yeah, I don't know. Like it's like lately, I've been conflicted as well, like playing this account because it's like decent entertainment, but it's like I don't really enjoy it as much as I hoped I would because it's like a main, and I've always made cool unique accounts and so I have, like I was saying, I had this defense pair I was playing in December, and that's when I really found the game enjoyable. And I was no longer bug abusing this account. All it has done on it is priest and peril with one prayer. It doesn't have repeated quests, anything insane. It just did a little mushroom thing, and it's got no XP from priest and peril. And so, and I thought to myself, I'm not bug abusing on this account. I'm not doing anything bad on it. But like, if I put this account out there and made videos on it, is it just gonna get instantly banned again? Like, is it even worth it? Because I don't want it to get banned because I'm actually having fun playing the account. I'm like training Hunter on it and like catching implings and doing clue scrolls, and it's just like it's hard like to almost do what I want to. And maybe if they're maybe if they really want me back or something, they could say, like, hey, we're not gonna like hunt you down and go after you for something that was like a year ago. So um maybe I'd be open for a discussion and we make some sort of deal, so I can actually have fun playing the game. So yeah, I don't know. But currently the dev team, I guess a lot of people are already turning over, so who knows? Um I highly doubt they'll contact me though. It seems like they don't want to do that. And yeah.
If you're comfortable talking about it, I think you said in a recent video that you gave up alcohol, and in some of your IRL videos, and even maybe as recent as Twitter today, I don't remember for sure if it came from you. I think I saw you were like sampling zero alcohol beers. Eh,
Yeah.
can you walk me through a little bit your decision to give up alcohol, because you were like full on memeing with Bud Light sponsors at one point. So this is a big 180 for you.
Yeah. It was just mainly kind of like a personal choice because like even before all that stuff that happened in June or July, I still don't I can't even remember what month it was. I was having a lot of like mental health issues and I feel like alcohol was just exacerbating it way over the top. Um like I have like really bad panic disorder, so I would drink to kind of get out of panic and anxiety. It was like I would like self-medicate with it. Um, and it would make me feel great temporarily, but the next day I'd wake up with a hangover and it would just make it 10 times worse. So it's kind of like just like a health choice. Because my mental stability is like terrible, especially with a bunch of alcohol. So it's been, I think, 8 months, a little over 8 months since I've stopped drinking. Um, but yeah, it was around that whole same time period. It's weird that everything, hits all at the same time. It was actually totally unrelated, but it did not make it better. So I just decided to cut alcohol, and yeah, I got on some medication as well, and that actually helped me quit alcohol because it's like yeah, I'm not really supposed to take these medications with alcohol. So I'm like, it's a win-win. Um, so that's kind of been why I've been staying away from all kinds of alcohol. I haven't touched it at all since July of last year. So
Wow,
yeah.
good for you. You seem like you're in a much better place now. And by the way, you also
Oh yeah.
look like you've gotten in better shape too. And I'm sure that just, not knocking back beers constantly probably helps with that a lot. But
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been running every day on that that contraption back there, um, doing all that. Still staying inside way too much, but at least getting some form of exercise and not drinking myself to death. So I'm doing better.
That's great, man. And you just got
Yeah,
engaged, right?
yeah. We're planning to get married in May or June. Still undecided, but it's not going to be like a wedding. We're just gonna run off and get married. So it's nothing going to be big. Sorry, no one's invited. So
No content creators at
not
this wedding.
not even my parents are invited to this wedding. So that's like a whole nother thing. Like it's so weird. You would think I'm the opposite of this, but like I hate having the spotlight on me, especially in person. Um, I hated going out in public even and doing those stunts. It was the most awkward thing ever for me. And that's another reason why I would drink so much because like when I drink, I'm a completely different person. I'm super social, but when I do not drink, I am like super quiet, super awkward, and just kind of like hiding from everybody. So yeah, it's 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 just a totally two different people versus what you see on screen sometimes and versus like who I really am. So
Was the IRL content at all an effort to try to break through some of that socialized anxiety? Because you were putting yourself in
yeah.
really uncomfortable situations, man. Like, I'm right there with you. Like, I have a ton of anxiety too. I would never dare do what you did in your IRL videos.
Uh, yeah, that's where a lot of it was going, especially on the second channel, because that's when I was like fully sober, and that's when I could actually do an exposure and feel the negative consequences of it. Because when I'm drinking, it feels fun to me, but when I'm sober, it is terrifying. So it's kind of like me just trying to get over it and stick it out as long as I can in that awkward social situation until I feel normal. And that's where a lot of that was headed on that second channel I made. So yeah, it definitely did involve some of that.
Yeah, well, like I said, man, it really does seem like you're doing a lot better, and a huge congratulations to you and your fiance, who must be really awesome, by the way, because there are not many women out there who would be stoked about their boyfriend turning the entire house into a giant streaming
Oh
machine.
no. Oh no. Yeah, no, that was that. Yeah, that she kind of wanted me to take it down too, and we're like not using it, so that's another reason. It's she's got some input on that. So
That's awesome. So
yeah.
what's next for you, man? What's next for Rendi?
um, That's what I'm saying. It's like I don't know if I know I'm gonna continue the series I'm on now, but I don't know if I want to throw some of these defense like casual defense peer videos in or not. It's just like a question of both accounts are there's so many grinds, and I have to meet a quota of how many videos I'm getting out a month now to actually make a decent living. So it's kind of like, do I release a video of me killing guards for an hour, and then the next time I release another video of me killing guards for an hour? Um, or do I mix it up, put the defense peer in there, hope it doesn't get banned? Um, but also the defense peer is a huge grind as well. It's like me maybe my plan was to catch 4,500 lucky implings, for example. So that might not make it into one video. That would take me like a year to do.
Sorry,
So
did you say 4,500?
yeah. Yeah. And just a spoiler, I was planning on bonding like 100 accounts, and with this huge setup I have, like running them as like scouts in Puro and like with the desktop notifiers on, like naming the RSNs of the accounts, because it shows the RSN, naming it like world blah blah blah, uh as the RSN, so it'll pop up on desktop notification. I'm running these all like 1 FPS. It'll say lucky imps found world blah 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 blah. So that was a crazy idea I had for a video, but like I said, that would take me like a year to put that video together because even with that, I'm paying like $600 a month for membership through like bonds and everything, and like it's like I don't know what the future holds, to be honest, is the main point of this conversation because I have a lot of ideas, but they're so many of them are just so time consuming that it's hard to get anything done. Like I've been on this Snowflake account for every single day for like 12 hours, and I was thinking I would have some extra time because I was like, "Oh yeah, this will be relaxed. I can hop back on the defense pier and do whatever." But no, I'm stuck on this account. So, I think for the immediate future it's just going to be, grindy Snowflake videos, honestly. Maybe when I move to a new place, I'll take on some more like casual, not characterized Rendi videos in person IRL. Maybe just me talking to the camera or going over a hot topic or something on the second channel. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm always conflicted about what I'm doing. That's a problem with me as well. So
I want to pitch you on an idea here for a second. With all the
okay.
theory crafting that you enjoy doing,
Mhm.
you are like perfect to play an Ultimate Iron Man. I play an Ultimate Iron Man main, but I also do a series on my channel called Unique Ultimate Iron Man, where I showcase like 5 Snowflake UIMs and the crazy achievements that they've done. That just seems so up your alley, man.
Mhm.
Have you ever
Yeah.
given UIM a thought?
Um. Only UIM I ever played was like the lowest combat fire cape UIM, but I don't know. I like I want to do something like UIM is like extremely unique and not even many people play it. But it's like even for me that doesn't feel like unique enough, as dumb as that sounds. Um like I know all these UIM peers as well, like special UIM builds, but like I feel like whenever I do something, it has to be something that's not been done yet. And I feel like everything in the UIM community has pretty much been done. So maybe, but I don't know.
That's a hard bar to hold yourself to, man. Like always doing
I
something that's never been done before.
I know it's probably not a healthy one to be honest, but that's like I honestly get like kind of sad if I'm doing something that like someone's done. I don't know what it is. It's some weird conscious anomaly that I always like have to do better than someone else at something. So I don't know. I think I'm just gonna roll with it for now.
Roll with it, man. Sounds like a good plan. Do what
Yeah.
is fun for you.
Mm,
I have a friend named Wingz, and he's an Iron Man with a max fire cape, and he's trying to get his infernal cape. And he wanted me to ask you which Buffalo Wild Wing sauce you recommend to help him get into the right inferno mindset.
it would have to definitely be the blazing sauce because that's the hottest one they have. Um, he'll be profusely sweating, constantly rubbing sweat all over his keyboard, getting it greased up for the Inferno. So I think that's going to be the one he's going to have to use.
If you guys are still watching this far into the interview, make sure to PM Wingz, Wingz, in game, and give him your Inferno encouragement messages, okay? Rendi, could you shout out your socials and tell people where they can find you if they don't already know?
Yeah, my main channel is youtube.com/Rendimento, RENDIMENTO, Twitter, Rendi_Mento, Instagram, Rendi_Mento. Second channel, I don't even know. It's some weird drawn out link. Doesn't have custom link yet. Rendi versus the world is the name of it. Um, and that's pretty much all I use. So thanks for having me on, and everything we've talked about has been amazing. So
It's been a pleasure, man. I'm going to put links to all of Rendi's socials and channels in the video description. Be sure to go check him out. Thanks a lot, Rendi.
yeah. Wait. Also, as a last note, I just realized I'm wearing the same shirt. I think I did. I did a last interview in. So just a forewarning, I don't always wear the same clothes, and that's the last thing I have to say. Okay.
He's got one shirt, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah,
confirmed.
I just realized that. I'm like thinking to myself, did I wear this shirt the last time I got on like a webcam call with someone? Because I think I did. I think it was on one of those OSR's podcasts. So I don't always wear the same shirt, but I guess
Uh,
for podcasts. So all right.
that's great, man. I hope you all enjoyed the podcast. A huge thank you to Rendi for his time. If I could only interview one person in the community, it would definitely have been Rendi, so this was kind of a dream come true for me. Please check out his new Ironman series. Links to all of his content are in the description below. And finally, consider leaving me a like or subscription if you enjoyed watching. That's it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.